I'm good. How are you? Well, good.
I don't see you on campus yet. I was there the other day. Maybe because today that I was. I was missing you. I saw all the whole thing. I sure there's some tall. I kidding, they have all the roads so big. I did grow, and I haven't seen them. I didn't see you till y'all were walking out.
Oh, okay.
I saw Philip. I didn't see you. I'm like, she's not. You guys gotta get some decent blood.
I think it feels good.
Okay, I'm not going to that.
Sure you want to go with that.
Yeah. At my house, I'm going always hot. There we go. No. I'm trying to have. Days before they gave him access. And so they denied. So we'll have to go open it back up. Yes, it is. Okay. Oh, my.
She got on a deal.
It'll say, right. So you know that one? Yeah. Right here. Yeah. And then on the other one, right there, read that. And then the list that's on the items right every night. I'll just put it in. That way it's a little easier. Yeah, and then like I said,
You mean you think that's not that natural? Donna, what should I say for yourself? Thinking about that hat on. I know you, but I
hey. I was just seeing if my kid contacted you or if you knew anything about my children. Okay, did he get Sunny? Do you know if they went home? Okay, because I'm going into the meeting now, as you can hear. So loud, proud. Okay. 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 Perfect. All right. Well, I appreciate it. I'm going to go to my meeting now. We're about to start. All right.
Look right.
Showed up to our last meeting, right on time. Oh, say it again. I said you showed up to your last meeting right on time.
I'm tired.
No. What else is signing?
Well, I was just looking. That means like I get up and go get it now. I was gonna bring it a minute ago, but I was like, oh, I should probably wait. I think I'm gonna go get it now. Yes, it's hot. No, the air. No.
I call this meeting of the Florissant Independent School District to order. Let the record show that a former board member is present, that this meeting has been duly called, and the notice of this meeting has been posted in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act, Texas Government Code 551. Item number 2 is the invocation. We'll ask Mr. Lewis to do an invocation for us.
Thank you, Master. For all your many blessings, Lord, we want to thank you for this day. And Lord, we ask you to bless this meeting. Let everything we do be pleasing to you, O God. Lord, we ask you to bless our bishop in a special way. Lord, we thank you for what you have done and what you're about to do, O God. Lord, we ask you to bless our students, bless our staff, O God. Bless everybody that's gathered here tonight, O God. And then the Father, we leave this place, we know your presence. Lead us guys and let them home safely. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Item number 3 is our pledges. We have Ms. Brenda, she leads.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. On the Texas flag, I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
We'll ask Ms. Gabby, she will lead us in our vision and our mission.
CISD vision. Be
all you can be at CISD.
Our mission.
It is the mission of Florissant Independent School District in partnership with the community to develop lifelong learners that become productive citizens in an ever-changing global society.
You may be seated. Thank you all. 5 is positive recognition.
Okay, before we get started with that, I just acknowledge the crowd that's out there. I think regardless of whatever you're here for, it's always a welcome sight to see so much local participation in your governance. And so I just want to just commend the crowd for actually caring enough to be here for whatever reason you're here. With regards to positive recognition, we're really kind of doing 2 for 1 tonight. I wanted to really acknowledge and honor the girls that were in powerlifting, who competed the first year that we really committed to that. First year or second year, Ryan? First year. First year, and just did some remarkable things. So I wanted their coach to come up and talk about it, and then we got one more acknowledgement right after this.
Yes, like Dr. Ward was saying, I'm a little nervous, so maybe that. Like Dr. Ward was saying, this is the first year ever for the girls to have a powerlifting team, and they showed up every day and worked very hard. We had 7 that came out, and we had 5 make it to regionals. And I believe we would have had more. We had one London. She had gotten sick the week before that and wasn't able to compete at the powerlifting meet before regionals. So I believe we would have had 6 had she been healthy. So we had a really great outcome of that, and we actually have one make it to state. Alicia Love. She's just a freshman, so and we had a bunch of freshmen. So we're looking forward to next year, and looking forward to adding more girls and making the thing bigger, working even harder, getting more people out to regionals, and getting more people to state and just having success each and every year moving forward.
You did, Ryan, you did exactly what I thought you would do, which rightfully so, deflect all the glory to the kids, rightfully so. But I think we should all acknowledge that the teacher slash coach really does make the program. They do. So Ryan, what I'll say is you did a good job of creating buy-in with a program. Being able to take a program that was made of dust the year before and being able to get a kid to state and get a group of kids actually the regionals was quite impressive. You create the excitement in the program, and most of all, you created the. If we could build that weight room and have it up tomorrow, it couldn't have come out too soon, because I can only imagine what these kids would do when we supply them and put the facility in front of them where they really can train and get a whole lot better. And so I'm just so excited for you kids. I wish we actually had that in place tomorrow, because you're going to reap the benefits of that immediately. So kudos to you, Ryan. My hat's off to you girls. You all have done a good job, and you laid the foundation to have a program that Clarksville from years to come. And I'm just so proud of it. So thank y'all for coming here and getting your wealth. You're so deserving. Okay, I've got one more thing that I kind of want to say. This is something that, shamefully, I'll just tell you, it wasn't my idea. It was, I think it was the board president's idea. Much like me, you all see the Facebook posts all the time and the graphics and things like that. You see all those sports graphics, that's Ryan. He does a good job. But someone hiding behind Ryan is the wife. Actually, come up to the podium, but do you mind standing so everybody will know exactly what you're talking about? So often, I'll say one more thing. Often we see, I know you all see, you can't help but notice some of the high quality pictures that we see on Facebook all the time. And some of you think, and I know people that are our neighboring districts are wondering, golly, did these guys actually hire a professional photographer? Because especially the athletic action pictures, they're Sports Illustrated quality. And so the board president, oh, was it Mr. Lewis? Okay, well, I was talking to somebody one day, and either one of them, and they thought it would be a good idea just to get you in here so we could tell you face to face. We definitely appreciate that. It's something that we don't take for granted, and we thank you for the work and the effort and the care and the precision with which you work with to be able to provide the district with that. It definitely is eye-catching.
I wouldn't do it, I mean, the kids, I should. I used to be a coach, so I just flip it. They just make it easy, make it fun.
We appreciate both of you all.
Thank you.
All right, item number 6 is open forum, public comment allowed on any agenda item.
James Black is the first one.
Yeah.
We have 3. James Black, Danielle White, and Nick Jackson.
Good afternoon. We're just here from the middle high school. We have a few concerns regarding some things that are being take place as far as the bond, our campus, and the displacement of some of our students and staff in our building. So we wanted to present some things to the board and just kind of give you our outlook on some of the concerns we have as a campus of some different things that we feel will affect us, and also just to kind of highlight some different incidents that we have experienced within the last few weeks with our children and things like that. And we want to be sure that the safety of our kids, our staff, our campus is all taken into consideration as these moves are progress. So this is an address to the CISD Board of Trustees. Dr. Ward and the CISD Board of Trustees, we're standing before you tonight, April the 21st, 2022, and submitting written requests from the desk of the faculty and staff members of the Clarksville High School campus. We feel that our voices are not being heard, some of our educational needs not being met, Our safety has not been considered as part of the many district decisions that have been implemented regarding the bond and academics of Clarksville Middle High School. We are in full interest of collaborating on any changes being made for the bond projects to begin in the coming months, but our input has not been requested. As we have noted in the past weeks, a portion of Cheatham Elementary is scheduled to occupy our current building that houses our 6th through 8th grade students, and our middle school students will be displaced inside the high school building with the more mature high school students. We feel that this move is not in the best interest for the safety of our students. We must be reminded that when Cheatham Middle School and Clarksville High School combined some years ago, the promise to the community was these students will remain separate as much as possible throughout the school day. Placing those students in the same building puts CMHS at the risk of more discipline issues and the 6th through 8th grade students being exposed to more mature conversations and activities. Also, we believe that capacity has been the only option considered and not any of the safety measures. When the high school building did house 500 to 600 students, we must remember that those students were of the same grade and age. There were also more faculty and staff members in place along with an assistant principal. Here are a few examples of some of the concerns that we do have, and we're willing to speak with you guys and sit down with you guys to hash out more that we do have. The middle and high school students using the same bathrooms together. Middle and high school students interacting in the same hallway. Vaping issue increases, discipline issues increase due to the influence of high school students encouraging malicious behaviors between middle school students and the middle school students attempting to impress them or under peer pressure to do things. Overcrowded hallways, and of course, the middle and high school students will have to share top and bottom lockers. Also, elementary students will now be exposed to the more mature behaviors of the older children. There are many other issues that could be considered. However, we do not have the time to listen to them tonight, but they are included in our handout. Our question is, were these processes considered as the bond package was constructed? It seems that they were not, and we at the Clarksville Middle High School are being left to deal with any changes that are made and simply adjust with no concern to our student academics, safety, faculty and staff sanity, and the overall well-being of our campus. This year, as well as past years of COVID, has been a hassle, and we feel that this decision will force more qualified teachers out of the district. And if these details are not presented as new hires begin to come in for the new school year, they will leave within weeks. We also believe this will create a more hostile work environment as we currently struggle with regaining structure that we have lost. It has been voiced in the past board meetings that there will be approximately $1.1 million saved by not building across Spruce Street. Where is this money allocated? Could not a portion of these funds be used to house the displaced Cheatham Elementary students on the rear grounds of the present elementary? These are just suggestions. A portable building with 2 conjoined rooms with a bathroom in the middle will be approximately $70,000 for a building. If the district is choosing to house kindergarten through 2nd grade at the middle school campus, that would only require maybe 6 to 7 portable buildings, which would run you approximately $420,000, $500,000. This could not be considered with the amount of money that's being saved. After a year or two, these buildings could be sold. The district could possibly get a portion of these funds back. We do not feel that these projects have been fully reviewed to their full potential, and we are beginning to see how those decisions are going to affect us at a negative light at the middle high school. Other details that need to be considered when we transition the elementary to the middle high school campus. Elementary music classes will be in the band hall and impede upon the state rate band program. Athletics and PE will be dismantled due to scheduling and the sharing of the gymnasium if needed. Bathroom equipment will need to be altered in the middle school to fit the elementary height students. Staff in the cafeteria will serve breakfast and lunch for hours daily. This will limit time due to prep, and this will also limit the space, and the elementary and secondary nutrition plans do differ. There will be no elementary student playground. Student drop-off and pickup will be compromised. And this last one came because we have been watching the activity of our middle and high school kids, and we're trying to keep them under control. But elementary and secondary students will be moving around, walking home together before and after school, and we just fear for the safety of our students. Other details that we ask be considered for the next school year at the middle high school campus. We need better support from higher administration and the Board of Trustees. We've attached some dress code addendums we feel need to be made, as well as the grading policy. We also have some concerns with technology and Chromebooks with our middle high school students. They're being used for gaming and movie watching majority of the day instead of instructional purposes, and it's hard to get our students to focus. Cell phones have become outrageous. Teachers struggle daily with getting students to focus on instruction because we're trying to navigate them away from cell phones. And teachers have now become lax because it's a war to take the phones, and the policy that we have in place does not support us. We're also uncomfortable with DAP and ISS being on our campuses inside of our building. These students need to be off campus, and it holds no sense of punishment because the students feel like they're going to just another classroom and they use the same facilities, bathrooms as everyone else. So it's no sense of punishment. Also, we feel that it does not meet some of the state requirements for the alternative education facility, and middle and high school students need to be separate. DAP and ISS need to be separate, and there is no definite pathway for discipline. So once we get kids in DAP, ISS, and they get beyond, their behavior gets excessive there, we have no consistent pathway to further discipline those students. So we ask that you would consider these options, and also there are additional options attached, some things we would like to see with dress code, electronics, grading policy, and others in your package. So we just ask that you do consider these options, come sit down and talk with us, help us get a better understanding of the moves. We just don't like to see things, posted on district, Facebook, district webpage, and other campuses before they're brought to us about these moves, because it places us in tough positions to consider. So we thank you. Included in the trustee packets are signatures from staff at the Clarkson Middle High School that support this, and we have them here with us tonight. Thank you. I'm not leaving because I'm running, but I have class at 7 o'clock.
Danielle White.
First, I would like to say I'm Danielle White, and I teach kindergarten at Cheatham. I do live in Mount Pleasant, so I drive here an hour every day and back every day. I do love working here. I worked in Mount Pleasant for 20 years, and the district is much different, it's much friendlier, and I love it here, and I hope never to leave until I retire again. I'm here because we would like to discuss the 4-day work week. I just have a few things I'll just run through real fast. During the construction time, there would be less stress on the parents and the students due to the changes in campuses and where the multiple places they're going to be dropping and picking up their children. Parent conferences, ARDs, meetings, LPACs all can take place on that 5th day for us. Planning and prep time. I mean, I know all the campuses have that same issue. Like Nick and I, we teach everything. So we have to prep for every subject. We're not just prepping for English or just for math or just for social studies. So that time we spend our prep time in meetings. And so we don't get that prep time every day. Vertical alignment, staff development, lower absences and missed time for teachers. I know for me, when I have to go to the doctor, I have to take the day off because the time I drive here, drive back, and then drive back, the day's gone. So I have to miss a whole day if I have to go to the doctor. And unfortunately, due to COVID, I've been sick a lot. We feel like it'll help with our student attendance. Other districts are following suit, DCAB, Paul Hewitt, Malta. Less stress on meeting deadlines for teachers like grades and DMAC and all the things that we have to do. We did take a survey at the beginning of the year, and the majority of the staff did want the 4-day week for the reasons that I'm saying. And also teacher retention. When districts around us are doing it and they see the benefit and the lessening of the stress, that makes you want to jump ship and run. If you can lower our stress level even a percentage, that makes a big difference when you have 22 kindergartners all day. I have 22, Nick has 22. I mean, we are literally about to hang them from the ceilings because there's nowhere else to put them. We have so many. So, I mean, we've gotten new students recently and we're like, okay, we got another desk because we don't have anywhere else to put them because we're out of furniture. I mean, so just the little bit of stress reduced would help us immensely. And I know I'm speaking for Nick on some of those things, but these are things that we've discussed. And it's hard with 22 5-year-olds to not have any planning or prep time. I mean, I can't even go to the bathroom. Literally the other day, one of my students was looking under the stall at me, because we share a bathroom. He's like, "What are you doing, Spot?" And I went, "Get up from the stall, please." So, I mean, just the little things that would make a big difference. And that's it. Thank you.
Myself, to add a couple more things. She said basically everything I was gonna say. Good evening, how are y'all doing? Especially with the prep time, it's really hard when we have those meetings, because I find myself on weekends, at school,
He's there all the time.
trying to get things done, to make sure I have everything done for the kids. Because it really is hard to do that in those 2 planning sessions we have, then calling all the parents in that that 5th day, if we get that 5th day to do our planning and stuff, that could even be for like the extracurricular activities for the kids. Like, we just started dance and the girls love it. And so that might, kind of draw more into it, and we can do more with extracurricular activities rather than taking away from the day of the school day.
Let me just say, he's spending his lunchtime doing dance and conference and dance. So when I'm eating my lunch, he's over there with the kids dancing and trying to eat his lunch at the same time. Because there's just not enough time in the day. And he's trying to do it all.
Thank you. Thank you all. Item number 7 is Head Start report.
It's Ms. George, is going to come up and. Ms. George, as you present, I may stop in between and just ask you a question or two.
Yeah, we're doing the March one or the February one?
You're doing that one up there.
March. The attendance during March was 87.04%. That has gone up from what it was in February, which was 84.75%. Did you have the test results?
Yeah, they're in there.
last one?
Yes.
Okay, so that's part of the February report. Communicable disease or whatever, that went down to what it was last month. We had one COVID case. There were no communicable disease. That we'll go ahead and go up to the test results. All right, we do CLI engaged 3 times a year, beginning of the year, middle of the year, and end of the year. Currently, we are doing the end of the year assessment, but here is the beginning of the year and the middle of the year, side by side. It's like the test is divided into 17 areas, and those areas are divided into sub areas. So for each child, it takes at least a minimum of an hour and a half to test them. If you see it in green, and I try to keep this of all of our assessment aggregation that we keep, it is like 8 to 10 pages long for each grade level for the 3-year-olds and 4-year-olds. I condensed it. But like here, the ABC names, they went up 4% from 0% when they first started. And the ABC sounds, they're still trying to get it. This is the 3 to 4-year-olds. And in the numbers, it went up 4%.
Right, so I'm gonna stop you right there. I would expect to see a 3-year-old entering your program to be at 0 at the front end of the school.
Yes.
But I would be a little surprised that halfway through the year, they're still at 0. So can you explain to the board why there's seemingly a lack of progress?
And teachers and I, we sat down and we discussed it or whatever and stuff. A lot of it is that we have a lot of kids that were in and out or whatever and stuff during sickness. Also, we had a lot of interruptions or whatever and stuff, and we had to work all for extended periods of time. The teachers have also been saying or whatever and stuff, and I have a list of some of the reasons because it's the same thing a lot of the kids are coming in and whatever and stuff, they're sleep deprived, and they're trying to actually give the test or whatever and stuff, they're very tired.
We see that, we really see that. I don't know if that shows up at the elementary level, but at the secondary level, I really can't double down on your concern of that excuse. Because the kids really aren't coming to school during the school day prepared for the rigor of a full academic day. Which really infers that the parents really aren't supporting us by making sure that these kids are in bed actually getting enough sleep for the next day. I did not know that that was occurring at that young of an age.
And we discussed it during parent-teacher conferences and home visits, and we suggested to some whatever and stuff, asking them, what are your child's bedtime? What is your bedtime routine? Because like you said, they'll get in there, and some of our kids at breakfast time, and that's the first thing of the day, they'll sit up and fall asleep at the table. So we're trying to wake them up, whatever, so when it's time to test me. Rapid letter naming, it went up to 26%. And on the rapid vocabulary, it's stayed the same. And with the DLL, that's the dual language learners, they went up or whatever and stuff by 100%.
Go to the phonological awareness. And I'd like you to explain to both me and the board, what is that? Right there.
Okay. Phonological awareness, syllabication. So like you will be pronouncing a word like balloon and you have to clap it out to tell how many syllables it's in. Onset rhyme, beginning sounds, alliteration, that's it, have the same beginnings, like apple and ant, they would use the same letter. Rhyming one, that's they'll give you two words and they'll ask you whether or not it rhymes. Now, as you go down to this one, and on this, the rhyming one, they can say yes or no. So you don't really know, because sometimes I just say yes, 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 and not really know it. Rhyming two or whatever, actually, you can tell whether or not they know whether or not the word is rhyming, because you give them a word and they have to give you a word that rhymes.
Well, I just want to make a note for the board. I don't know how close y'all have looked at this. Do we have some areas where there's been minimal growth or even a regression? A few. But what I can say is, if this board actually looks through that overall, you get a good sense of this program actually is benefiting our kids at the 3 and 4 year old level now, because you do see, especially under this domain, the phonological awareness, I just saw a lot of growth, especially on the back end of this report. You did see like double-digit jumps. So it's going to be interesting to see where you are on the end of the year, because your program is really built to really prepare kids to enter into for next grade, going to kindergarten. And what ultimately we want is, or what Nick ultimately wants is, he wants kids to be able to read when they hit his grade to some degree. And I remember a couple of years ago, we were sending kids there and they still could read. So hopefully your data indicates that we should be able to send some of our kids actually to that grade level, prepared to actually read. So I'm really excited about the data, because this didn't look like this 2 years ago. You know that and I know that. But I am seeing the department really trend in the right direction. So I'm proud of the work that's being done.
The DLL students or whatever, so, and we had talked about that or whatever, when the teachers, when they do their parent-teacher
You'll have to explain to them what DLL is.
DLL, dual language learners, English as a second language. We talked to the parents, and when they have the home visits, they get a test results, but they also have a QR code, and then we also give them packets so that they can actually work with their child at home. Whether or not they're doing it, we'll see. But they do have a QR code or whatever. If they're more technological, they can sit up there and scroll over it, and it will give them the activities on their phone, or paper copies of it.
Okay. We don't have to go through all of it.
And these are just observables or whatever stuff. So it's something that the teacher is actually looking at. positive social behaviors, classroom community, emotional.
What area are you most proud of? I'd like you to sum up with the board. Give them an area that you're most proud of and give them an area that actually concerns you. And the concern is actually okay.
Okay, area that concerns me or whatever is the math road counting or whatever for the DLL students. But we're working on that because they have to do it in English. And they want to do it in their native language and cannot actually give them credit for that or whatever according to how the CLI engaged their skills. So that's for the 3 to 4 year olds. The 4 to 5 year olds, their early writing skills, and it's just, you know, looking at how they're putting things together, whether it's scribbling or writing letters, copying letters, whatever, copying words, we're concerned with that. We're getting there.
Okay.
Also, what I wanted to talk about, or whatever, which was on the other one, or whatever, is the self-assessment that took place. It was in the, actually, that was in the February.
Okay.
Our self-assessment is annual, and we send out surveys to try to improve our program or whatever. So we send out surveys, and I think but out of the self-assessment, we had 22 responses. 11 current parents, 8 staff members, 2 current former parents, 1 current parent that was a staff member, and 1 former parent that's a staff member. No one from the board or whatever. Yes.
Did I got
You probably did it under. I emailed it to. Forgot the answer. Anyway, some of the suggestions for improvement was better at the playground, better, more access to the center, parent center, and someone had written program land issues towards improvement to the conditions of the pre-K ESR side. I'm happy to report that the playground, whatever, we are in the works of getting playground, whatever, and stuff. Shelley was supposed to talk to Shelley being the program director. Was supposed to talk to the contractor that they're scheduling or whatever. And hopefully we can get on the agenda to do it during the summertime. And part of our program improvement plan is we wanted to have better communication between staff, parents, and both of the districts, improving our class scores, which will also improve our CLI scores if we do that. New playground improvement and improve parental involvement. And we also did the week of the young child, and I want to thank Peters for coming, or whatever we had, Dr. Ward for coming, Ms. Lewis for the artsy Thursday, where we had art show of some of the kids' works, and on the Head Start Facebook page to see it. We're not able to attend.
Thank you.
So I got one question for you as you walk up. Your current enrollment is 54, right?
Yes.
What's your capacity?
60.
So -6.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Item number 8, discussion of 2021 CISD fund project timeline update.
Okay, I highlighted some dates up there for you to look at. Can you make that a little bit bigger for them? These are some of the big things. Some of this stuff is small and immaterial, but I did highlight the first one, the geotechnical report, because that's the first thing that has gotten us off track. And basically what that is a soil sample to figure out what kind of slab you're gonna put on it. I didn't know you were supposed to do all that. So this has been a learning experience for me. But it took so long, it took longer than expected to get that. But we just got that. The architects emailed me today, said they just got the report back. And we were supposed to have that back in March. The other thing is the agreement for the road closure is a big deal. That's coming up this month. We're on target for that. And then when we start, you know, we're actually, the vendors are going to bid on our projects. This is when the plans are actually available for them to look at to determine how much they actually want to put in the bid. And then their proposals are due on the 16th. And then we actually let them know. We as a board will go through and pick the best option for our district. Best option may not be about cost. And then we'll actually let them know that they actually have the job on the 24th. As far as things happening, physical and tangible things happening, you'll see that the first thing is the old elementary. That's gonna be the first thing that you'll see. That's scheduled to happen July the 21st. When I talk to the architects, that is still on track. And that's gonna take roughly a month to clear that area. And then the track starts, and you can see it starts really right on time, right after the elementary is gone. It starts August the 22nd. And then you can look at the middle school renovation, middle school, high school renovation, additions and renovations to CES. And if the board so wants, I can actually send this to you, because this is a quick look. So you may not have this. You may want to refer to this in the coming months. So if you want me to, I can just send this to you. That way but y'all do have this in board book, don't you? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we just got this. We didn't have this last month. The guy, when did that guy bring that flash drive to us? Maybe 3 weeks ago. But we just got all of this on a flash drive. So I'm giving this to you as soon as my first availability, I'll give it to you. Next slide. That's just more of timelines. You can kind of see, start of construction, things like that. But again, I will send this to you all because there's a few other things I want to look at. So you'll get a first glimpse of what the outline is of our building. So this right here is the CTE welding part. So you can see all the welding stations there. And if you look closer, you'll see some of the labels and where things will be located, and the storage and all those kind of things. So again, this is a big upgrade over what we have. And hopefully the kids really will help the kids and the teachers will really maximize the space and the opportunities that we have. But that'll kind of give you an idea of what things are gonna look like. That's more of a realistic view. Those are the welding stations. And then you can see the space in between. I think that is that weight room?
Mhm.
Yeah, this is the weight room. So I don't have another tangible picture that you can see, but this is kind of give you an outline and a sketch of the weight room. There are some things on there that once I looked at them, I think we need to consider removing, but that's another story for another day. But some of those things are, we've got elliptical bikes in there, other bikes. And we'll have to justify the need for those because you're not gonna be able to get all of that with the budget that we have. Okay, so this is an outline of the track. You can see on the far right, the athletics and CTE building. You can also see where the parking lot actually will be placed up above. But the one thing that I'll tell you about the track is we originally planned for a 6-lane track. It is going to be my recommendation when we get to that point that we build a 7-lane track, because the difference between a 6 and a 7 is the level of track meets that you can host. And we want to be a school system that actually has a facility that we can actually ask and invite other schools to come in and do. In an area track meet, we can actually host if you have a 7-lane track. A district track meet we can host with a 6-lane track, but we might as well really muscle up and try to build a 7-lane track because we may want to do an area track meet when you're in that. That does bring extra funding into the athletic program because UIL will pay you to host that.
With the 6 lane, then we figure out that you could go back and add a lane.
You can, but it's gonna be a little bit more expensive, because when they put a border around it, you have to tear the border down and then add. What I wanted to know was what was the difference in cost between with adding a lane. It's about $100,000. But I guarantee you, if we wait and came back and did it later, you wouldn't be able to get that done for $100,000. And that was the recommendation from the guy, is you want to do that when you're actually building. And they actually think that there's room for an 8-lane track. But I don't necessarily see the value between 7 and 8, when the 7 would actually host an area track. Okay. We don't need that. That's just that's a detail. Okay. So those were the updates. I think the most important thing that you'll have, and I'll send that to you so you can have a closer look at it, is the timelines of when things actually get started. It'll get to the point where we really start putting these bids together that we'll have to be technical about what we want to do. There was another slide that should have been in there, and I had one in there for cafeteria equipment.
Yeah, that one wasn't in there. I didn't get
I
that one.
wanted that to be in there, and I asked for that to be in there because I wanted the board to have a sense of idea of really just how much things cost in this era in time. So part of the bond was to update. Well, part of what Cheatham is getting is a new kitchen with updated equipment. Y'all, we got the bill for that, proposal for that. It was $383,000 for cafeteria equipment. I say that to say that I know when we bring stuff in here for us to spend, it is going to be alarming, but that's just the nature of the world that we live in. It's gonna cost. So going back to, we are spending $60,000 on library furniture. It almost seems like a bargain in comparison to $380,000 on cafeteria equipment. And I want to remind this board, that's just one cafeteria. That wasn't both of them. That was one cafeteria that's going to get that upgrade. So we couldn't even afford to do 2. Well, I'll send that to you as well, the cafeteria equipment. So just remind me to send that. Okay. I don't have anything else on that. Unless the board has any questions and anything else that they want to know that I can actually send them. If you have any questions, anything else that you need beyond what I'm going to send you, either tonight or tomorrow. Okay.
Item number 9 is discuss and approve building agreement with Sign Travelers Baptist Church.
Okay, nuts and bolts of this, and the good thing about it is this: the board pretty much knows what the terms of the agreement are. Basically, what we're going to do is rent space from Zion Travelers. We'll rent space to house 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders in that facility for $4,500 a month. And in addition to that, we will be responsible for the full utilities of the building, except during that period. We'll start our payments in July. The June or July. That is all in the contract. I've given you this contract ahead of time. Do you have any questions or concerns before we actually agree to sign it? No questions, then I will look at the motion. Agree to that, and then we'll sign that.
Pretty well immediately after going into the building, like say their HVAC systems. Responsible. Like, have we had any kind of inspection of the building?
We have. We have toured that building. The HVAC was working when we were there, but I'll remind the entire room that could happen right here. That has happened right here. Where the HVAC goes out. What we would do is we would just pay to get it fixed. That agreement is in here. Who pays for what? And I can't remember exactly where that actually is. we're renting, so I would think that they will actually pay for their HVAC. We're not doing any major adjustments, so, but if the question is, are we going to actually update and upgrade their HVAC, we're not doing it, at all.
Was there any more questions?
Hang on, I'm gonna read real quick.
Can you go back, Jen?
So I go back to the beginning. So what I have a question, just listening to what the staff said tonight. I know we said 3 through 5 would be.
Yeah, Thursday, fifth would be at the site.
At Zion, okay. Okay, I mean, would it be okay? I'm not saying anything's gonna be changed, but if it is in the future, that wouldn't conflict with the agreement, would it? I'm not saying we're gonna change anything, but they did have some valid points tonight.
So with the church, what I will say is they have demonstrated that they are and will be extremely flexible. So if we wanted to change and make any adjustments to who we put over there or even make an addition, and there is a little room for a little addition, you really could do that. And they've given me no indication that that would be a problem.
So, with the check for asbestos.
I have not checked that for asbestos. Now I can get money to go over there and do that. I don't know how that's done. The only thing I did, what?
I can't imagine the state of.
London can't do it. Okay, not London.
I was gonna say, I bet the state would have to have an approval.
Down, you gotta know what to do. You can't get a free over there to do it. We all got sued, because we were trying to do it on the job. They brought professionals in to do that, because 15 minutes later, do this, and still get the same thing. 325, that's 41, 40, 33. 40, 81, and 33.
Some of the parents won't-
That's 114 feet.
What would they pick up at?
They won't drive up in the parking lot. They will pick up and drop off right at the street level. Because we don't want the buses in there because they have a fear that they will tell their parking lot.
So the buses and the parents.
Will pick up on the street. Now, the parents probably can pick their cars probably can go in. There's a little covered area where the parents actually can get in there. But those are details that I can just tell you. We hadn't talked about because it wasn't become relevant until we actually signed this agreement. So as far as pick up and drop off, we haven't had that discussion yet.
Well, that's a lot of parents concerned,
But I'll remind you that even though that's important, that I've got time because school doesn't start until August. I can actually tell the parents, we can have a discussion, and I would plan on telling the parents details such as that before school is out. But I had to make sure we got this agreement signed first. That hadn't came up to this point, something I hadn't thought about the first time tonight I heard about it. I will actually have the building checked.
Well, actually,
Asbestos. So now wait a minute. If that's the pause, then maybe we don't sign this tonight, until,
I like to walk. I mean, that way, if somebody wants to get all the stuff and say, have you been in that building? I can tell them yes or no.
we've been in that building, I've been in there 3 times. I think Dory's been in there 4 times.
But you ain't in the bottom.
If you wanna walk through that. What did you have to add, Cody?
That's one of the reasons the church before Zion actually stopped using that building. My granddad worked for that church for 30 years. And prior to after church leaving that actual church, they were using that building itself for like 5 or 6 years prior to it because they had sewer issues and asbestos. financially benefits for us to look at prior to housing our prisoners out over there. And then hopefully more health issues.
On the asbestos, ban starts in July, at certain time, the old elementary now, it has asbestos in it. And that can have a group come in and spray, as they're tearing that building down, so they will be able to practice that concrete pad when they've been practicing that because of the asbestos.
They usually go to the football field.
Yeah, that would be the adjustment. But we're getting way off topic now. We get way off topic.
I make a motion to table number 9, to approve the agreement with Zion Trouble Baptist Church.
Motion made by Ms. Lewis to table item number 9, the agreement with Zion Travel Baptist Church, second by Ms. Brenner. All in favor, right hand, please. Motion carried. Item number 10, discuss and possible approve exemption of the limits, HS, boys, girls.
I was expecting to have, my folks here to talk about that.
Make a motion to table number 10.
I'll second.
Motion made by Ms. Lewis to table item number 10. Second by Ms. Brenner, all in favor, right hand. Motion carried. Item number 11, discuss and approve interlocal bid participation agreement with SY 2022 and 2023.
This is something that's cyclical and routine. We do this every year. This is dealing with our food service agreement. We signed this before, nothing really has changed between last year, so we just simply need to agree and sign it.
I make a motion to approve the local bid participation agreement with SY 22 and 2023.
Second.
Okay, motion made by Ms. Lewis to approve the interlocal bid participation agreement with SY 2022 and 2023. Second by Ms. Lewis, all in favor, right hand. Motion carried. Item number 12, report on board member training hours.
Okay, you flip that.
Well,
That one.
it was. It's been on here for a few days, yeah. I can't flip it, but do you have it? I gave it to you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. My apologies, this wasn't, it was in mine, so I didn't know that. Okay, this is just an update of hours that you need to have. I think we probably need to make a copy and send this to. And as far as team building, we all are in compliance with that, but we've got some other areas where we need to get some other trainings. And so that sheet is gonna let you know the areas where we need to get training. But probably the time is probably likely appropriate because you're gonna have new board members coming in. You know you're gonna have at least 2 joining the board. And we probably can plan to do these together. And so I will try to work with plan. This will let you know what you're lacking. And again, I thought you all had.
Oh, yeah. What I got?
Well, I think, Rick, some of the things aren't turned in. You've got your hours, they're not turned. I know you have some hours. I know you got some of them at board. But if they're not turned in, it's almost like it didn't happen.
Did you get them last 3 hours?
Yes, I did. I wouldn't eat no ice cream cone, you would.
No.
Sorry.
No, rude about that, you can be your name.
I'm going tonight, you know.
Okay, so one thing we don't have to worry about is team building, but with a new group coming in, you don't have to worry about team building. This will give you an idea that Brenda is the one who actually made a lot of headway in her hours. She pretty much full at the bottom. Takes a Jeep.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what.
Okay. Item number 13.
I had
discuss teacher recruitment and retention against CISD.
I had this on the agenda to discuss, but a critical person that has information available for me is not here. this week. And for that reason, I didn't get this finished because I'm missing some critical information that I want to include on that. For the teachers that are in the room, what I can say is, speaking on behalf of this board understands the world that we're living in, the current crisis with the educational system right now with lack of teachers. We've heard that, we hear you loud and clear, and we've had discussions about that. We do understand and recognize that a salary adjustment is something that really is needed and deserved, and it should be on the horizon. There's just a few dominoes that we really need to fall and some answers that we need before we really can begin to determine how much and we. But I want the room to understand, the teachers in the room to understand that that is something that this board is sensitive about, and that we've already had prior discussions about, and we're prepared for that, to discuss it in more detail tonight. But I don't have certain information that we need.
Item number 14, consider for approval 2022-2023 TKS certification form.
This is another thing that we do every year. This is our TEAC certification deal. Again, this is something that we do every year.
Mr. Ward, I will say I'm the textbook coordinator for the district. I will say there have been no changes. All of our staff at both campuses, all three campuses do follow your teach resources, and we do have available all the materials that they're required. This certification is just to allow us to be able to order the books and things that are going to be needed for the next school year. That's basically all this is for.
I make a motion to approve the 2023 TKS certification form.
Motion made by Ms. Lewis to approve the 2022-23 TEAC certification form, second by Ms. Lewis. All in favor, right hand, please. Motion carried. Item number 15, consider for approval audit consultation services with Will Henderson for 2022 and 2023.
Last minute addition to the board book. Judy brought me this late this week, but she happened to bring it to me on Monday, and we had to send it out. This is simply just an agreement that these will be our auditors for next year, year. And we're happy to do it. So we'll get the,
How long we had to?
since I've been here.
Well, probably maybe one more year than that. You typically find one that you like and stick with them.
I think Judy sometimes has issues with their availability.
Yeah.
But as far as what we primarily pay them to do, we're comfortable.
I make a motion to approve the audit consulting service with Will Henderson for 2022 and 2023.
Motion made by Ms. Lewis to approve the audit consultation service with Will Henderson for 2022-2023, second Ms. Brenda. All in favor, right hand. Motion carried. Item 16, consider for approval student insurance renewal for 22 and 23.
This is pretty much exactly what it says, student insurance renewal. Judy, did
No
you?
change.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, were there any significant changes?
No change.
So this is pretty much what we already have in place.
They actually gave us some more coverage, but as far as the amount of. I'd like to make the motion to approve the student insurance renewal.
I got a question.
2023.
I got a question.
Yeah, no, you don't.
It's because you leave, you don't do that. I said,
It took your job away from you, disagree.
Ms. Lewis makes motion to approve the student insurance renewal
Last time.
2022 and 2023. Second by Mr. McPeter. All in favor, right hand, please. Motion carried. Item 17, the superintendent's report.
Simply wanted to give the board an update on fuel costs. I should have wrote the number in there too, because I was amazed at what you told me, but I forgot.
The last bill was 14,000.
14,000 for fuel, and that's
6 days.
but that would make sense to you. You're paying paying almost twice as much in gas as you was before. So it is something I guarantee you'll see that same story in other districts as well. You won't see that any different, just like a lot. Now, it doesn't last, it'll last as long as well. I'll almost say quarterly. Roundabout.
And then we could have also ordered like both types of fuel at the same time, where maybe last time we didn't, but it's still a significant.
That's what I have with, gasoline and diesel, or just,
It could have been, but we do that sometimes, but still it's.
oh, people have tank.
Okay, the next one with the board changing next month, I'll probably put this on there. I probably should have waited, but I'll actually bring it up since it's there. We usually go to SLI. SLI was canceled last year due to COVID, but it is a full go this year. Y'all, I don't have the dates, but I do know it's the end of June. Middle of June is SLI. I'll give you the specific dates. That is usually a really, really good training to go to. I just want to see what the board's interest is, not necessarily. Well, I need to know who I was going.
I have to know the dates before.
I'll give you- Right. Okay, I got you. Golf scramble, first time I've been with this board since we had golf scramble last month. That was a really, really big success. Everything went well. We had no hiccups. Most importantly, we raised, this is not a secret to the board, we raised $17,000. We spent maybe 5 or 6. We walked away with $10,000 to be able to use for various things that local money won't pay for. This money has a little bit more flexibility. So that's really a good thing for us. That's something that we should do every year. One, not just for the ability to fundraise, but just it put me in proximity with people that I ordinarily do not have contact. And most of them had nothing but great things to say about the show that we put on. We really did put on this show. Job fairs. Went to a job fair. Region 8. I went to a job fair in Arkansas. The reason why I went to the job fair in Arkansas is because it's only 2 hours away. And I just really thought and put money on that it would be kids from Texas there, since it's just 2 hours in Arkansas. Quite a few kids from Texas, but the problem was they sandwiched me right between Mesquite and Texas County. And so this is one reason why the salary is something that we really do have to take a hard look at as a board. I think Texas County starting salary was 44. And of course, we're not even gonna try to compete with, with Mesquite. Their starting salary was 59. So you can tell which take, but people did come up to me and talk about that. What? Yes, sir. And that's actually what we talked about was, what kind of life do you want to live? And a lot of the kids really came from small communities, and that's our selling point, is the small community, in a rural setting. For some people, that is a must. We're never going to be able to compete with somebody that's paying that much difference in salary. Y'all, what I'll say is Texas County is what, 45 minutes from us? Huh? Okay, 45 minutes to an hour. And what I'll say is we can't have that much separation between where we are and what they are. It's almost $11,000. And so for that reason, we really are gonna have to take a hard look at really making a bold move with our salaries. But I just didn't feel like I had enough to fight with. I had one good position that I knew really got everybody's attention, and that was the Eagles position. You all know the stipend that we paid that. We can't pay that kind of stipend for every position. So just my experience with job fairs was pretty interesting. And we have one more to go to on Tuesday. Okay, that's it.
Okay. Item number 18 is consider agenda.
No.
Second.
I got item number 18, we got, made by Ms. Lewis, second by Ms. Lewis. All in favor, right hand, please. Motion carried. Item number 19, convening a closed session for Texas Government Code section including but not limited to the following sections. 5.1.07 personnel matters, motor resignation retirements. Section 22 and 23. Code number probationary contract investigations of the at 7:04.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
Oh, I just realized, Joey Blood.
Yes, right.
We're now reconvening the other section at 8:51. Okay. Resolution received and accepted by the superintendent. Our paper technology. Between the 160 and HSCTE. Including the curriculum direction. Spanish 1 to 3 MS or HS or high school. Now, so the motion to for the curriculum director.
I make a motion to.
Well, wait, you get mad when somebody steps up.
Hey,
Actually, I tried to on accident do it last.
I'm gonna give him a 10.
Got a motion on Ms. Lewis.
Oh, I'm seconding.
Okay. Ms. Lewis, Ms. Lewis, as the curriculum director, second by Ms. Brenner, all in favor, right hand. Motion carried. Proposal no renewals of these staff. Require motion. Proposal no renewal of the staff. There's a Matthews Act, vocational, let alone. Yeah, family, HS resource.
I make a motion to accept the. Non-renewal for this below.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Lewis. Discuss the non-renewals listed below, second by Ms. Brenner, all in favor, right hand please. Motion carried. And that's all that I have. Nothing else. Oh, yeah. Contract, contract renewals. Contract renewals for 2022 and 2023. So I have a list of names, we're not gonna read all these names, but I need a motion to renew the contract renewals.
I make a motion for renewal of 2022, 2023, 2-year probationary, 3-year probationary, 4-year probationary, term elementary, and term CMHS.
I'll second.
Okay, motion made by Mr. Lewis to of the contract renewal of the second year probationary, third, fourth, and term, elementary term CMHS. Contract listed below, second by Ms. Brenner. All in favor, right hand please. Motion carried. Anything else? Okay, this meeting is now adjourned. No, we got some awards. We got some awards.
Yeah, we got two ladies showing up, and representing their last board meeting. I want to tell y'all that, it's been It's been a great tenure with you all. Your support for me really has always been unwavering and it's never gone unnoticed. It was a sad day for me when you all decided to exit the board. What I'll say is the plaque, I'm not good with plaques because it really doesn't speak for the weight of the contribution that you actually have served the board. But it is a nice memento that you can look at in later years and recall. This definitely doesn't do justice in your service to me and to the district. So thank y'all ladies very much for your service. So we got plaques for you. Oh, thank y'all.
You didn't worry about it?
Hey, y'all take a picture.
Y'all still up.
Yeah, because that owl was like right there.
Oh, yeah.
Let me see. I mean, here we go.
Let me get this out to play.
Good. Polish it
All
up.
right, Will. Leave me up, Alex.
1, 2, 3.
All right, now, let me.
Okay, here you go.
He's giving you a box.
1,
Oh,
2,
Bluebell.
3.
Thank you.
You noticed who looked when you said Bluebell.